one thing about the Weasley children. They are every single one of them, major success.
Arthur, you just got your daily information from an owl.
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles to Squibs Corner. I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew.
And today we're just going to jump right into it. Chapter 4 review at Flourish and Blotts.
Beast of a chapter. Great
Yes.
chapter. Great chapter.
Jumping right into that 7-word summary. My summary, there's too much going on in this chapter, so I just kind of put something together. I kind of went with like the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Kind of sort of went that direction.
Okay.
Floo Powder, Malfoys, fighting, Lockhart, get ready.
Ours are very similar.
I couldn't do anything else.
Okay, so mine is Floo Powder, contraband, school supplies, Lockhart, brawl. Okay.
That's amazing.
Did the best we could. Floo Powder.
Did you copy off of me?
That's right. Hey, can I copy off yours? Yes, but just make it look different. Bet.
Yeah, sort of different, huh?
I gotcha.
Oh, that was great. All right, so as always, we start out with the first paragraph of the chapter. Life at the Burrow was as different as possible from life on Privet Drive. The Dursleys liked everything neat and ordered. The Weasleys' house burst with the strange and unexpected. Harry got a shock the first time he looked in the mirror over the kitchen mantelpiece, and it shouted, "Tuck your shirt in, Scruffy!" The ghoul in the attic howled and dropped pipes whenever he felt things were getting too quiet. Kind of reminds me of Peeves. And the small explosions from Fred and George's bedroom were considered pretty normal. What Harry found most unusual about life at Ron's wasn't the talking mirror or the clanking ghoul. It was the fact that everybody there seemed to like him.
I mean,
That's great.
the heartstrings, right?
Yeah, everything.
The
house sounds lived in.
Yeah, it's like, all of the things describing what he's experienced day to day, but you know what was his favorite? The people there actually liked him. Like, geez,
Including
man.
him and asking him questions.
I know.
It's great. So, last chapter. What was last chapter? We were at... Oh, yeah, we just got introduced to the Weasleys' house. So Harry... introducing all this new magic and complete opposite from the Dursleys' house. There's not much to recap. He's at the Weasleys' house, and he's still there. So we're going to continue talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
So, one of the things I mentioned was a ghoul up in the attic. So, a ghoul is an ugly creature that resembles a slimy, buck-toothed ogre. And just like ogres, they are slow, dim-witted, and almost unintelligible. They live off bugs and insects that they find in the attic. Their purpose just seems to be to make a lot of noise and groan. Just be a noise in the silence, I guess.
So why then?
Yeah,
Why do the Weasleys have a ghoul in the attic?
Yeah, I would assume he just kind of moved in, and there's also something else we get to in the chapter later.
But we're throwing gnomes out of the garden. But you're gonna let a slimy buck-toothed ogre just take up residence.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, there's a couple things in this chapter that made me question. So, oh no, it wasn't this chapter. Okay, I was reviewing for our house elf episode. Okay, so that has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
So we will move on. So this chapter, I just want to say it's a really good chapter when it comes to introducing the Weasley family. For instance, you know, when you get to your grandparents' house when you're little and they just keep giving you food and they keep giving you food and they keep giving you food. Did I mention food? Well, Mrs. Weasley is the most momliest mom you will ever meet.
Momliest mom. Yes.
You like that. Good. She did not care for the state of Harry's clothes and wanted to give him clothes that fit and didn't have holes in them, right?
But
they might have been
clothes
hand-me-downs, I guess.
Holes in them.
Oh, they do. Have you seen that little meme on the internet? How many holes does this T-shirt have?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen those.
She lovingly made him eat as much as he could, which was strange because he was used to eating as little as he could for 12 years. So I guess between being at Hogwarts and having those giant feasts, and then being at Mrs. Weasley's house, I think. So the Weasleys are described as poor, basically. They were eating bacon sandwiches. Do you have, wrap your head around that. Bacon is extremely expensive. And for a household of right now with Harry, 8, they're all eating a lot of bacon, not just one, a lot of bacon sandwiches. How expensive do you think that breakfast was? Holy crap.
Accio pig.
Right? Oh, man. Mr. Weasley, on the other hand, is fascinated with Muggles. He would ask Harry all about the Postal Service and plugs, with many other things. I don't think Mr. Weasley has ever had the opportunity to just sit down with somebody from the Muggle world and relax and just ask them questions about how the Muggle world works. Even though doesn't he often quite frequent the Muggle world to fix things? It caught me a little off guard, the description right there, because he kind of sees how it works. But I guess she's right. He doesn't get the chance to sit down and he's going out there and fixing problems and modifying memories.
Sure,
so little different.
And I think it's so funny he mentions, it's just so interesting to see what Muggles come up with without magic.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, Arthur, you just got your daily information from an owl.
Yeah.
And we're over here making phone calls, watching TV, getting the news. This was the 90s, so the internet was coming along.
Yeah, and they got their owls.
Yeah, you're like, no. We've got owls. Yeah. Magic is so much better. Look at our schools. The torches that keep the light that keep the hallways lit for the students.
That's the one thing about magic. It is portrayed as like old and ancient type stuff, like castles, torches, broomsticks, and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's also
we love it though.
More advanced.
We love it though. We love it though.
Yes, we do.
So we get to find out about Arthur. We also get to see Ginny again, who just cannot keep her composure around our dapper young Harry Potter. Ginny's quite smitten. Yes. So right here, we get a scene in there. If you ever wondered about how witches and wizards get their directions for school, their letters, what books they need, because in the first book, Harry's was tried to deliver it. Right, the owls tried to deliver, and then the milkman, and then the hotel, but then Hagrid had to give it to him. Owl Post. That is how they get their letters. And remember, when Harry kept getting the letters from no one, whoever was writing them knew where Harry was.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was the closet under the stairs, whether it was the second largest guest bedroom, whether it was the hotel, whether it was the cabin at the sea, or cabin on the rock, cabin at the sea.
Yeah. So it was Dumbledore. I assume it was either Dumbledore or Hagrid writing those letters, right? Do we ever find out?
I'm going to bet a year's salary that it was not Hagrid writing those letters.
I mean, it would make sense because
now they are signed. They are signed Headmistress, Minerva
Okay,
McGonagall.
sure, yeah.
But whether or not she's writing them, I got to assume this has to be some automated magic. If they're,
Yeah, it's.
I mean, come on
to
now.
know exactly where exactly where he is.
But yeah, so Mr. Weasley does say, "Oh, nothing gets by Dumbledore. He knew you were here. Nothing gets by him." There's my you called me out on. Because the Owl Post arrives with everybody's school list, including Harry's. Now, keep in mind, Harry didn't go over to the Weasleys and then go put a change of address on, so Dumbledore is my guy. He's all about this. We are curious to know how Dumbledore seems to know where Harry always is, so we looked it up. Couldn't really define a definitive answer. If you know why, email us, squibscorner@yahoo.com.
Gmail.
Squibscorner@gmail.com. Now, we know that there is a trace on youth wands, underage wizards' wands, and we know more or less that the Ministry of Magic knows where they live, because when Dobby did the charm at number 4 Privet, there was only registered that there was Harry living there. So we do know that they have ways of, but moving to and fro, we don't know how to.
So,
maybe they knew that Harry's wand was
might
at the Burrow.
Well, as far as like them knowing where he is in the Muggle world with the Dursleys, I think it's Mrs. Fig. I think Miss Fig has a lot to do with that, because as we go on, we learn Mrs. Fig is actually keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, she is Dumbledore's eyes at Privet Drive.
Yeah, and then we know that the owls just know where you're at, so who knows if Hedwig went and... I don't know.
But Miss Fig wouldn't have known that they went to a hotel. Miss Fig wouldn't have known that they went to a cabin, a cottage on a rock in the middle of the sea. So he's, Dumbledore's got style. Okay, Dumbledore's got style. Okay, but as we get back to the list tells the students exactly where to go, what books to get, everything that they need to know for the beginning of the school year and what they're going to be doing. Usually when you go to school, you get your books. They're all from different authors, at least in book 1. It was. You had several different authors.
Well, even in school, high school, middle school, college.
Yeah, even your own books, right? Yeah, your own schools, Muggle schools. Yeah. The situation was a little odd, as Harry and all the Weasleys were told basically to get all books that were written by Gilderoy Lockhart, except for one book, the Standard Book of Spells, which Miranda Goshawk, got to have that Standard Book of Spells. Yeah. We also find out that Ginny is starting her first year at Hogwarts. We find out Percy is a prefect, and that the Weasleys will manage to get all the books they need. But it's going to get expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And the Lockhart books are expensive, and now they have to buy 5 sets of them.
Ugh.
5 sets of them.
Could you imagine that?
Bro.
Oh, my... it's for one person, it's extremely... Oh, man.
Which also makes you hate Lockhart even more.
Yeah, that's true.
Because...
his books are...
I don't know how many... I don't know how many people outside of, were actually purchasing his books, but to become, to say, hey, we're going to require the complete set of Lockhart books.
Yeah, it's...
And why Dumbledore wasn't like, no, sir. No, sir. Yeah. Absolutely not. We've been teaching here for thousands of years, or at least hundreds of years, without a single Lockhart book. Now we don't need... Yeah. So shortly after school letters, Ron got a response from Hermione and the accident-prone owl, Errol, who we get to meet a lot of Errol, the Weasley's owl. It seems as if Ron had told Hermione the plan to rescue Harry, and of course, she was upset. But
well, of course she was. That's Hermione. Yeah. I mean, she didn't sound so upset in the book as you would think she would. She just don't do anything to get him in trouble because, you know, he's kind of already in trouble.
Yeah, he's on thin ice. Poor Harry. Poor, famous Harry Potter.
So, being at the Weasleys, Harry has naturally a lot more freedom because the Weasleys live in the Wizarding World. But I actually don't think that they do. I think that the Weasleys live in the Muggle world. And I'll explain why I think that later if I included it. Mm-hmm. And I do right here. So that being said, Harry's not allowed to practice Quidditch. But they have a field to practice Quidditch.
Yeah, it's like a little open area surrounded by trees.
Yeah, so, I mean, Quidditch is part of magic. So there's a little bit of a gray area here because obviously you're flying a broom, and that's magic. But they didn't get in trouble for flying to Fort Anglia. So maybe flying doesn't count? But I know, you know, it's pretty much just Ron.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I think it's pretty much Ron, Fred, George, and Harry practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Percy, he was spending a lot of time in his bedroom.
And what did they use to practice?
An apple.
Yes.
Yeah, they used the apple in place of the golden snitch, but they had to. So.
And what kind of broom was Ron flying?
A clean sweep. Right?
Was this the clean sweep or was this the shooting star? This one
might have been the shooting star.
This one was a weird one.
Well, here's why I say I think they live in the the Muggle world, because it said they had to make sure that they flew low so that the Muggles in town wouldn't see them. So I thought it was strange that they don't live in the Wizarding world, but at the same time, wizards and witches do live among Muggles. They just have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, he didn't get the clean sweep until he became a prefect. Wait, Ron didn't become a prefect. Yeah, he did become a prefect.
Yeah,
I was thinking head boy.
Wow, he got rewarded with a clean sweep. The bottom of the line broom. You're a prefect, Ron. Here's a crappy broom.
I have to go back to I know it. Poor Ron.
So now we get to know a little bit about what the older brothers are up to. The older brothers, Bill and Charlie, they're already on their own, and they're done with school, and they're in the Wizarding world working. Charlie is in Romania studying dragons, and Bill is in Egypt working for the Wizards Bank Gringotts. And we've talked about that before. But it is brought up in this chapter as well. And I just have to say that I would have to imagine that Harry just instantly felt a huge weight off of his shoulders as soon as he got to the Weasleys. This is going to be a reoccurring theme as we keep going. Is it
It is a shooting star. Yeah, it is a shooting star.
I see you.
Feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I had to look it up. I was like, no, I can't go on not being certain.
There you go. Shooting star. Now, when we talk about the Weasleys, this is not a family that could just easily go out and get whatever they need or want, because, like we said, they're described
unless it's bacon.
Right? A poor family, but they can afford all the bacon they want.
They got bacon for days.
Sure. Makes sense. They're more of like your average, everyday, paycheck-to-paycheck family, which I would think that most of us know the feeling all too well. I bring this up because Harry has the most opposite life that a person could have. It's like he lives in two different worlds, which is actually true.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, in one world, he's an afterthought. He has no money. His clothes are hand-me-downs, and they have holes in them. He gets to eat scraps for dinner. He gets to go in his bedroom and pretend that he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He pretty much lives with an abusive family that, you know, he would be lucky to grow up not needing therapy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if he stayed and didn't go to the Wizarding world, that's the direction the story would go.
Yeah.
But in this other world, the Wizarding world, Harry has everything. He has friends, a sense of being. He takes pride in what he does. He's a hero. He fought off he who must not be named. Complete and total opposite of what he is in the Muggle world. But the thing right now that's bugging Harry is the fact that he has a wealth of inheritance sitting in Gringotts. So while he can buy pretty much anything he wants or needs, he feels bad watching the Weasleys struggle, especially when they talk about getting these school books. Oh, this isn't going to come cheap. Oh, we'll manage. He's like, oh, man, I could just...
Yeah, that's so tough.
Yeah,
that's so tough.
It is.
One of the things that we didn't talk about, we talked about when they got the letters before Harry got there, they got their grades from the last year. And we learned that Percy got 12 OWLs.
Yeah.
So they didn't really talk about... We know we had exams at the end of last year, but they didn't talk about any of the grading or anything. So we do find out a little bit about wizarding testing, the OWLs, the ordinary wizarding levels, and that Bill, the oldest Weasley, also got 12 OWLs. So George and Fred are like, oh man, we're gonna get another head boy in the family, it's
a weird grading system.
Yes.
I mean, I guess ours can be considered weird. It just matters on how you look at it, I guess. But I think even Harry is like, owls? And like, no, not owls.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we were young, you know how in preschool, kindergarten stuff, you get like good, excellent, satisfactory, stuff like that. I remember we got report cards one time and my older brother had gotten a C on something in some subject. And my dad was like, a C? How are you getting a C in this stuff? You got A's here, you got B's here, Andrew got A's here, you got B's here. And then all of a sudden, we look at my little brother who's at the top of the stairs, like crying. And my mom and dad are like, what's wrong with you? And he goes, you're mad at C's and I got S's. So sometimes grading can be interesting.
That's awesome.
But that brought a lot of laughs.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Okay, so
my kid gets number grades like 75, 60.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to explain to him, you got a 50. That you didn't pass it. What? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you failed. That's a fail.
Yeah.
But if they don't come home with 100%, I'm like, right on the refrigerator,
there we go.
man.
That's right. So poor Harry, he's worried about his wealth compared to the Weasleys' wealth. And you'd think that, obviously it sounds like they're living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have much, but they do eat a lot.
That bacon,
they eat a lot. So there's got to be some magic. There's got to be some magic. It's
not like they're eating like oatmeal or like, just top ramen or something. Bacon. Yeah. Jeez.
So in Hermione's letter, she said that they're going to Diagon Alley next Wednesday, whenever this was, and Molly Weasley was like, yeah, let's go next Wednesday. And before they go to Diagon Alley, they each had about a half a dozen bacon sandwiches each. So they're doing it. They're doing it. You got to think about Harry, Ron, Fred, George, Ginny, Percy, Mrs. Weasley, Mr. Weasley, assuming that the parents ate. That's 48.
I know.
That's 48 bacon sandwiches.
I'm happy if I get one.
Harry changes his
mind.
I'm
spend a little extra money to get two of them.
Harry changes his mind. His favorite thing about the Burrow was that everyone liked him. Is the bacon sandwiches, the unlimited bacon sandwiches.
You ever go to a buffet and they just have like a tray of bacon and you're like, oh, yeah, that's all I'm eating, huh?
Yeah. So last time Harry went to Diagon Alley, he and Hagrid took a boat, then took a train, and then took a walk to the Leaky Cauldron. Walked through, went out the back, tapped on the bricks, went through. So I think the reader at this point is thinking, yeah, that's how we do it. That's not magical enough.
Yeah.
That's not magical. J.K. had to take us deeper. She had to get more imagination involved, and I love what she did. So the Weasleys get to Diagon Alley in a very strange way. Harry probably thought the Weasleys were maybe he didn't think they were insane, but he, because last year he ran through a brick wall to get to a train. But walking over to the fireplace had to have been a head scratcher for at least a moment. Mrs. Weasley pulls out a flower pot. It's filled with some dirt-like substance, and this substance was called Floo Powder. Just a quick note here, Floo Powder only works with fireplaces that are connected to what's referred to as the Floo network. So it's not like every fireplace in the world is accessible with Floo Powder. Yeah. So you take a handful of Floo Powder, you throw it in the fire, the flames turn emerald green, you step in the fire, you clearly, let me say that with emphasis, you clearly speak your destination, and then you get taken into the Floo network. Now, apparently, the way they describe it in the book, you can see things while you're in the Floo network. You can see other fireplaces, you can see other people, you can see other the inside of people's homes or shops that are connected to the Floo network. So they're giving him instructions, because once you see Fred and George, go ahead and hop out. You're golden. So it sounds like you've got more control than Harry experienced while he was in the Floo network.
Yeah,
so
seems like you get dizzy. Like,
it does. Yeah, you just spun around and around. So remember, say the name of your destination clearly. So Floo Powder, if you get your destination wrong, you're not going to go to your intended destination. So as everybody was showing Harry how to do it, they threw the Floo Powder in, stepped in, said Diagon Alley. They also forgot to mention not to breathe in the Floo Powder. Okay.
Because why? Because you'll choke.
Yeah,
huh?
You'll choke. Harry threw in the powder, took a deep breath of that powder, and maybe some soot and some ash and some sparks, who knows. Started choking and abruptly said, which sounded like 4 words instead of 2, maybe, which sounded like something completely different. You know what it didn't sound like?
Diagon Alley?
It didn't sound like Knockturn Alley.
No, it didn't.
And it didn't sound like Borgen and Burkes.
Yeah,
so this Floo network needs Siri to be like, the Floo network needs autocorrect. Yeah, Sorry, no, Siri, I wasn't calling you. I apologize. Stop listening to me.
He also didn't get out at the wrong place. It spit him out. He fell out.
Yeah, just kind of
do that on his own.
Yeah, sent him to. Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of weird.
So this is another reason why Harry Potter's just not the smartest. Who gets a handful of dust, throws it on the ground or in the air or anything with it, and then breathes? Wouldn't you be like, and then throw it? And then wait to breathe after.
Look. Harry just learned. And here's what's wild. In the book.
Well, he didn't just learn how to breathe. I mean,
in the book, they were going to have him go first.
They were, yes.
And then Ron, the Weasleys, Ron's like, oh, yeah, you've never done this before. And Molly's like, really? And you want to be like, you know his story.
Well, to be fair, she is the one that told him to run into a brick wall, not to be scared.
Well, and they did ask, well, how did you get to Diagon Alley last year? So I get it. I get it. So
it's funny. When you think about in between the lines, it's funny.
Yeah.
So, like we briefly talked about, we do find out what happens if you say your destination wrong. But man, he didn't say it that incorrectly. Like he did.
Yeah.
We're introduced not to Diagon Alley, but a place called Knockturn Alley because that sounds so similar to Diagon Alley. Knockturn Alley is a section right outside of Diagon Alley, so I guess it didn't spit him too far off of where he was. Just
right.
A quarter of a mile, probably not even that. But Knockturn Alley is a section devoted to the dark arts, so it's kind of... Well, in the movie, we get a visual that people hanging out there are unclean, rude, and it kind of looks like a place that's filled with, to paint a picture, homelessness. However we want to describe it, it's definitely not a place of sophistication or where kids should be. The place Harry took himself to with the Floo Powder had weird things in the store, like human bones. This place had all sorts of other things, too. If I had to describe the store, my word would be suspicious. The store had things in it that, if we were to go into the Muggle world, it would be outlawed. Think of it as like a black market. I guess, yeah, black market.
Which is weird because the Ministry knows it's there. Knockturn Alley isn't hidden. Well, it's not a secret.
Just looks suspicious, but it's not really. I mean, any place can be suspicious if you hire the right person. Or the wrong person.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like a place that if you see somebody in that store, most likely they're up to no good. I guess. I don't know. I guess if we're going off the description of the book and trying to paint a picture, that's a good way to describe it. I mean, I would assume that not everything fits the description of suspicious and up to no good, but I would say the majority does. Now, I want each and every one of you listening to this to take a guess, just a wild guess at who might just walk into the store at this point. Who's that one person Harry thinks is rude, mean, selfish, and probably up to no good? I'll give you 5 seconds. If you guessed Malfoy, yeah, you're 100% wrong. No, just kidding. You're right. Draco Malfoy walked into the store along with his dad, Lucius Malfoy. Now, is this the first time we see Lucius Malfoy?
This is the first time we meet Lucius Malfoy. We know he exists because my father will hear about this.
Yes.
We know he exists.
Thing that happens throughout the whole series.
Yes.
I would guess that Harry either wasn't supposed to be in there or he felt like he wasn't supposed to be in there. So Harry naturally hides. I mean, he doesn't want to see Draco. And he doesn't know who that guy is. I'm sure he's assuming it's his dad. And I want everybody listening to keep in mind that while he hides in a cabinet that has 2 doors. And if you pay attention later in the books, this is actually called a vanishing cabinet. It's a great significance later in the book. And I would like to guess that, I don't know, not a lot of people have actually paid that much attention, maybe at this point. But I know when I read and watched, I didn't realize that it was the vanishing cabinet.
Yeah, it's not until you reread the books that you go, what?
Yeah.
And again, this is the brilliance of J.K. Rowling as an author.
Yes.
Bringing back something that is so insignificant at the time. Okay, yeah.
Right, he hides in it. Nobody thinks
he hid in a cabinet.
Yeah.
Anybody in Harry's situation, not knowing the magical community, not knowing where he is, seeing bones, seeing scary stuff, would immediately hide, especially when you find your arch nemesis.
And it even comes up later, like when it starts to get used, you still don't put 2 and 2 together that, that's that thing. No, you just don't.
Yeah.
I love it.
So the name of this place, the name of that store, is called Borgen and Burkes, which plays, even the characters of Borgen and Burke play roles later on, which are really good. Obviously, we know that the store exists, but we get a little bit of backstory involving them in later books, which is great. The store reminds me of a dingy pawn shop. Not just because of the way that it looks, but because the conversation that Lucius and Borgen have.
Yeah.
It's like if you go into a shady pawn shop They'll have stuff out there, and they'll probably have stuff that's not out there.
It kind of reminds me of Mundungus Fletcher, a bit more slimy though.
Yes, and we've heard about Mundungus Fletcher already, and we're going to learn.
He's a terrible character. Terrible.
A lot
Just
more
absolutely terrible.
Yes.
Nothing good about him at all.
Yes. So you can go in, you can buy stuff from Borgen and Burkes. You can also sell things to Borgen and Burkes. But before
Kind of like a makeshift, kind of like a pawn shop, I guess, is another.
Yeah, I mean, it really, yeah. That's that's what they do. So before we get into why Draco and Lucius are both there, let's tell you what Lucius looks like. The book describes Lucius Malfoy as having the same pale, pointed face and identical cold gray eyes as Draco. Also add that he has long, thin, blonde hair. So we're going to go ahead and paint you a picture of Lucius Malfoy as a person. Just going to get right into it. He's in there, he mentions poisons. Right, there are other things that he's got, and he mentions that the Ministry of Magic is doing raids, and he thinks, and we know, Arthur Weasley is behind it, and that he'd probably get in trouble if these were found in his possession, these poisons and things he's got. And keep in mind, as he's saying all of this, he's got this sneer, right? This disgust for this particular branch of the Ministry and for Arthur Weasley.
Well, he's got this air of I'm better than you. He just reeks of that.
Well, not only is it I'm better than you, but he is a wizards are better than muggles individual.
Yeah.
Right? He does have that view. An even better picture of Lucius Malfoy's character would be that he's part of the wizarding community that believes wizards are, in fact, better than muggles in every aspect.
Yeah.
Which is something that we see in the real world. You see it in many books.
It paints a good picture of like father, like son. Draco's he's a kid, and he's acting so snobby against Harry Potter that you're like, where did he learn this? And you see,
and then right from there. You meet Lucius.
Not all kids are like that either. They could have bad parents but be a terrific kid, or they can have terrific parents and be a bad kid. But she did a good job of painting this similarity, like father, like son. She did a real good job of it.
Yeah, Lucius gives off the. It feels like the ancient wizarding houses, which the Malfoys are, the Blacks are, right? Go back long enough, and there was royalty. So I assume that because there's a ministry for magic, at some point there was some sort of monarchy, some sort of totalitarian or
the Malfoys are a well-known name.
Yeah, almost not as though they're current royalty, but because they're pure blood, it's one of these. Well, here's our family tree, and this is where we come from. We can trace our roots back, and almost as if they carry that with them.
Well, him specifically, it's like he lives in the past, and there's no progression with him as a person, not as a character, but as a person.
Yeah.
So while everybody's moving forward, he's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So in the book, while Lucius is having this conversation with Borgen, Draco is actually looking around at different things, and he's getting frighteningly close to the vanishing cabinet in which Harry has found his hiding spot. Fortunately, there's enough plot armor for Harry that right as Draco's about to come over, Lucius is done, says, come on, let's go. So they leave. Borgen says a couple of unsavory things about the Malfoys.
He's not happy.
If I know about the Malfoys, he's got more than what he's, telling me and all this jazz. So Harry eventually makes it out of the shop, and guess who finds him? Our guy, our favorite half-giant, Rubeus Hagrid.
Yeah.
Keeper of keys at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry, you're a wizard.
You're a wizard.
See, I did the book quote.
Yeah.
Movie quote, you're a wizard, Harry. See what we did there? He was looking for flesh-eating slug repellent for the school gardens because it would look a little dicey to have Hagrid down in Knockturn Alley. But he's got a story. Again, I will refer back to the Hagrid could have been a Death Eater fan theory. No need to bring it up now. So, remember when we first...
There's some fantastic scenes in the book with Hagrid. The movie didn't really do him justice because of that scene where he's fighting. Oh, such a great...
Yes.
Ooh.
So remember when we first met Hagrid, and we were talking about, how he's this big, huge, mean, intimidating-looking literal giant. You also remember that we described Hagrid as a giant teddy bear, and he has a heart of gold, especially when it comes to Harry.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Harry. Hagrid's one of those people writing to Harry over the summer, the same summer that Dobby was intercepting every single one of Harry Potter's letters. So Hagrid seemed like his feelings were a little hurt since Harry didn't write back to him. So Harry has to explain to Hagrid what he explained to the Weasleys in the flying car on the way to the Burrow. I never got those letters, so not much I can do there.
He does get his feelings hurt pretty easily.
Poor Hagrid.
Poor Hagrid. So Harry eventually caught up with everyone, and of course, they were all relieved he hadn't gone too far in the wrong direction with that Floo Powder. Now, we have a very distinct difference between the book and the movie right here. So, when Harry turned up in Knockturn Alley at Borgen and Burkes, he broke his glasses. Now, Andrew, I'm pretty sure you noticed this in the movies, but Hermione's the one that fixes Harry's glasses. But in the books, it's Mr. Weasley that fixes his glasses, and I think...
Well, she fixes his glasses on the train in book 1.
Yeah.
Does she do it again? Remember...
She does it again. She's, you've broken your glasses again.
Remember, the movies mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
They mean nothing to me. I mean that the best way
And I know there's a couple times when Luna does something, it's somebody different. I don't know why they switched those up, but it's weird. Now, this kind of makes sense that Mr. Weasley would fix it. The father figure, the adult, the more advanced wizard, right? But on the other hand...
Doesn't have underage restrictions preventing him from doing magic out of school.
True, yes, very true. But on the other hand, it does make sense that Hermione would fix his glasses because, she's a know-it-all, bookworm, teacher's pet, and, whatever nicknames you want to call her. It makes sense that Hermione would fix Harry's glasses also because, of course, she would know the spell. Why wouldn't she? That's a very specific spell to know, too. Seeing that she doesn't have glasses. I never thought of that. Why does she know that spell?
Well, and here's my question. Do you even need to say Oculus? Can't you just point at it and say Reparo?
Oh, true.
Because you can do that. They do that to several things throughout the series. And they're never like... cereal bowl Reparo. They're just Reparo.
Probably just. I guarantee she's showing off.
There you go. I bet when you do Oculus Reparo, it fixes the glasses and updates the prescription too. I mean, it's just an all-in-one great spell to have.
Well, that being said, couldn't you just say Reparo and pointing at your eyes? Let's just fix your eyes.
There have been so many questions. Like, geez, come on, magic.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. But then the fan theory is that Harry has glasses because he's also...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's only so much magic can do.
That's true.
Nobody heard you. You didn't whisper loud enough. Harry, of course, told them all about seeing Draco and Lucius Malfoy. Mr. Weasley was pretty keen to find out what he was doing there, and he was excited to hear that he sounded nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So, a little something going on between Mr. Weasley and the Malfoys.
And I didn't like Molly's play here. I didn't like Molly saying, don't go biting off more than you can chew. Don't go getting in too deep. Don't say that to your
I mean,
husband.
it's probably something that's been going on for a while. Though.
Sure. But then Arthur says, "Oh, you don't think you don't think I can handle Lucius Malfoy? Come on, Molly. You can't. You got to be more tactful than that. Men are stupid.
Got to support him a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, one of the most interesting things in this chapter is the fact that Hermione's parents are in Diagon Alley. I find that really interesting. But so I'm. What do you think about Hermione's parents being there? Because I know, I think they have to be accompanied by, like a parental figure or something like that.
It would make sense, right? It would make sense.
Yeah.
The parents know that they're going to a school for witchcraft and wizardry. So hiding it from them really isn't necessary. And one fan theory a long time ago says that all Muggles would have their memories wiped after they left. They'd still know that they had gone there, but all of the magical aspects, and I don't believe that. I think
that
if you're allowing your child to go to a wizarding school, you're okay, cool. Yeah, let's go. Oh, I can go see the stuff? Cool, great.
Well, I mean, you already got to keep a secret that
your
your son or daughter is a witch or wizard, so yeah. So I don't know. It just could be the simple, like I said, a father or a parental figure has to accompany underage kids to certain.
Sure.
I don't know. There's, but I know Arthur loved it.
Oh yes.
So,
talk to those Muggles. Let's go have a drink and talk about the Muggle world.
Yeah. So Arthur gets really excited, like over the top excited. I think in the books it talks about them pulling out their Muggle money, and he's pretty much has to run over there so he can investigate.
Yes.
I mean, not investigate, but, he wants to go check it out. I think Arthur pretty much, anytime he sees Hermione's parents, he bombards them with questions. And you got to think, they're Muggles, and they're over here in the wizarding world trying to, I don't even know what they're thinking, but now they got Arthur not even helping them out, not even making them feel comfortable. Like, ooh, money, Muggle money. Oh, that's funny. That's funny looking money.
Yeah.
That
I
guy's
love that
awesome.
guy. I love that guy. So they're in Diagon Alley, and already there's been obviously quite a bit going on. Now it's time to actually do what they came for. They got to buy the school supplies. But before we can do that, we get another look into the everyday average Weasley. Probably most people know people like the Weasleys, and your heart goes out to them. They don't have a vast amount of money, and we certainly can't, they can't do whatever they want to. And now, not only can you not do everything you want to, now you've got these kids that are going to a school, and they've got to pull out all this money.
They're highly, highly relatable.
Highly relatable. Highly relatable. Yeah. And now you've got poor Harry, who didn't earn his wealth. So, that probably... Yeah. And look, I have nothing against kids that are born rich. I'm happy for them. Cool, I got nothing wrong with that. But if they had Harry's, which a lot of them do, you have Harry's temperament, like, man, we've got this great family over here who's got nothing, and then here I am, set. Harry's vault is full of life, full of money, and when they go into the vault, when they go into Gringotts, they go together, which I didn't like. If I was Harry, I would just be like, "Hey, where's Griphook? Griphook, can you just take me down to my vault real quick? Let me get that. I'll meet you guys up here in 10 minutes."
At one point, Molly actually goes to his vault and gets money for him.
Without him,
oh.
Yeah.
But that just paints a better picture of it. Like, she doesn't care.
No, it's
She doesn't
Molly.
say nothing about it. She doesn't complain about it. Nothing.
Yeah, they're good people.
They
get to the Weasley's vault, and there was just a little stack of silver sickles, not even gold. And she gets all of it. She empties out their vault so that they can go get everything. And I hate that. I hate that. I've been there.
Oh yes,
And it's a terrible, terrible feeling. Terrible feeling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and they don't think twice when it comes to taking Harry in, taking care of him,
they
feeding
just do
him,
it, yeah.
making sure that he has everything they needs, and that puts everything into perspective. So then they go to Harry's vault. Harry gets his stuff, tries to do it quickly so that nobody can look in. They get out, they go up, and then they got to go do their shopping. So the thing that I feel that we need to mention here. So they go to Flourish and Blotts, right? That is the name of the chapter. So they go to Flourish and Blotts, which we saw last year, and that's the bookstore. We see it a few more times throughout the series. And Percy Weasley is reading a book. Do you remember the name of the book?
Yeah, I think it's called Prefects with Power. Or something
Prefects with Power.
Yeah.
Now, Percy...
It's a big foreshadow. That's a huge
foreshadow. It's a huge foreshadow, but you also have... And I have nothing against Percy at this point, obviously. But you do have kids that grow up in poverty, and their life's mission is to get out of those circumstances.
Yep.
And to Percy's credit, he's using school. He's making great grades.
Well, that's the one thing about the Weasley children. They are all, every single one of them, major success. Major success.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Bill works in Egypt for a bank. Charlie, I don't know how much dragon trainers, dragon keepers...
I would imagine you get paid quite a bit.
By whom? What value do you offer society?
I don't know, but you're dealing with dragons, so there's got to be a lot of money involved. That's just my assumption.
I mean, it's a good assumption. I'm just trying to think of how that turns into dollars and cents. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe they breathe money. It's not fire, it's money.
You know, some dragons and some tales do love to collect gold and diamonds and all that stuff. So maybe that's it. So they kind of make fun of Percy for reading this book.
They make fun of Percy a lot.
They made fun of Percy for everything. Poor Percy. I feel so bad for him. But Ron did say to Harry and Hermione, Percy has big ambitions. He wants to be Minister of Magic. Which, cool. It would be like you going to school with somebody who says, look, I want to be President of the United States someday. Okay, cool. I mean, you got to start with that ambition somewhere. Percy is just starting with it. That's cool. But that's
reading does
good
nothing unless you put it to use. So
all true.
Yeah, you can read all you want, but if you don't do nothing with it. So what?
You just said something about reading, and then you gave a grammatically incorrect sentence.
What did I say?
You said reading if you don't do nothing with it. If you don't do anything with it. How can we teach kids to read good if they can't even fit inside the building? You're not going to get that quote because you don't watch movies.
No, but I do watch The Simpsons, and Ralph says, "There's a crayon in my brain," and he points to his heart or something like that.
Oh, bananas!
I'm learning.
Okay, thanks, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Yes. Okay, so this is where it gets good because one of my favorite characters gets introduced. So this shop, Flourish and Blotts, was almost inaccessible because Gilderoy Lockhart was there signing autographs for his book, Magical Me. The book describes Lockhart as a man wearing robes of forget-me-not blue that exactly matched his eyes. His pointed wizard's hat was set at a jaunty angle on his wavy hair. I wonder how many books Lockhart wrote. I think it's time for some more digging. What about you, Andrew?
Sure. Whatever. Lockhart's the worst.
He's the best. I was curious to see what books Gilderoy Lockhart has published, and I came up with a list. Would you believe that? A list of 14 publications. That's a lot of books when you think about it. So, Magical Me is an autobiography. Gilderoy Lockhart's Guide to Household Pests. Break with a Banshee. Gadding with Ghouls. Holiday with Hags. What a lovely title. Travels with Trolls.
I hear your mom's in it. Yes, I have a teenager and a 10-year-old, and they would love that so much. Yes. Holiday with Hags. Bet your mom's in it.
So, Holiday with Hags. Travels with Trolls. Voyages with Vampires. Wanderings with Werewolves. Year of the Yeti. The Travel Trilogy, which is a collection of Holiday with Hags, Voyages with Vampires, and Wandering with Werewolves. So I guess you can either buy them separately or, in the set.
A package deal.
Yeah, and then there's Marauding with Monsters and Who Am I, which I love that. Who am I? Another foreshadowing. Oh, my. Wow, it's great. It's great. All the girls in the store were going googly-eyed over Lockhart. The guys, on the other hand, their eyes were doing something different, rolling in disbelief that all these girls are clamoring over this Lockhart fellow. Lockhart pulled Harry up for a photograph, saying, quote, "Together, you and I are worth the front page." He then announced his position of defense against the dark arts, Professor.
No, he was so excited when he saw Harry there.
Oh, he was.
So excited.
So Lockhart is, would you call him a influencer in these days?
I guess you could probably say that, yeah.
An influencer in the terms of he's full of it, but he's very happy and smiley and good looking doing it, I suppose.
He likes to monetize his fame.
Oh, yes, he does.
Okay,
oh.
so.
Yes,
yeah.
there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And yeah, he announces that he is going to be the professor of defense against the dark arts, which makes you like, okay, so he gets a job at Hogwarts, and then he makes it mandatory that every student has a set of his books.
Well, then he gives Harry a set of all of his books, and Harry's like, yeah, no.
I don't want these. Ginny, here you go.
Yeah.
And Ginny's
like right away. Oh, this guy's a tool.
Yeah.
Right?
Already, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great. It's great.
Yes. So that's not the only point of attention and concern that we get in Flourish and Blotts. We're going to give you another 5 seconds to think of who in the world, out of all the people that Harry knows, does he not want to see anywhere ever. I don't think I put enough evers in there. You guessed it.
Voldemort.
Again. Well, and you know what's funny? You say Voldemort, but in this chapter, they have an hour where people separate. Molly and Ginny go to the secondhand robe shop. Fred and George, they want to go look at the fireworks. Percy's obviously reading about power. Arthur goes with Hermione's parents. So you've got Harry, Ron, and Hermione walking around Diagon Alley by themselves. Yeah. Months ago, Voldemort was able to get into the most secure location in the wizarding world and attempted to murder Harry Potter. This was months ago, not years ago, months ago. And they say, you know what's a good idea? Harry, you were just in Knockturn Alley, so we know that there's shady stuff mere minutes away from this place. You guys go out, have fun, go be unsupervised.
That's great.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Well, Molly's not concerned with anything going on right now. Her infatuation with Gilderoy Lockhart is at full force right now.
She's googly eyes.
Yeah,
she's googly eyes.
Nothing else matters.
So, after this hullabaloo with Harry and Lockhart, Draco and his father walk in. Draco, of course, was talking crap about what just happened. Oh, Potter, I'm sure you loved that. And then he starts bashing the Weasleys. And he starts bashing Ginny. He starts crap-talking Harry. And then Ginny, trying to defend Harry. Now Draco turns on her. Draco's just a jerk. So now we have Lucius and Draco here. I know what that means.
This isn't easy. This is easy because we're allowed to foreshadow. We make up the rules of our own podcast.
We do, yes.
Lucius Malfoy took a book out of Ginny's cauldron. This is a two-parter. What was that book?
Is it not the Standard Book of Spells, Volume 1?
I'm pretty sure it is. I didn't plan on asking that question. But when he goes to put the book back, how many books does he put back into her cauldron? And what is that second book?
It's a diary. It's a diary. He puts a diary back in her cauldron.
Not just any diary,
Bum,
but
bum, bum.
should we wait to say what the diary is, or can we?
Everybody
just say
listening
it
already
now?
knows what it is.
I'd like to know how many people caught this.
Nobody caught it. It doesn't
Or how-
mention it in the book.
It doesn't?
No, it doesn't mention that he puts 2 books back in there. It just mentions that he puts the book back in. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't mention it in the book.
So then how does Jenny come in possession with that diary? Is it even explained in the books?
Of course it is. In later chapters.
Okay, so I guess my quiz is null and void because I thought that part was in the book as well, but I guess not.
No, it does not mention in the book. And not in this
Not at that point
chapter,
in time, yeah,
it
yeah.
does not say that Lucius Malfoy put 2
Well,
books.
then I guess in that case, if you're watching the movies, how long did it take people to realize that there was 2 books put back and one of them was...
Can you see that in the movies?
Very important. Yeah, you can.
Can you see him put 2 books in there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll find that out after we finish this the book review, and I have to watch.
And by then we'll
movies.
have forgotten about it, so it's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Draco and Lucius are in there. Lucius walks up, and then Arthur walks up. Remember, Lucius doesn't like Arthur. Arthur doesn't like Lucius. They start smack talking. And it goes to blows.
Yeah,
It goes to blows. There's a fight. You've got 2 grown men fighting in a bookstore. And you know what? This is what we came here for.
Yeah.
This is what we came here for. And you know who really loves it? Gilderoy Lockhart. He loves it. He tells the
wants
guy
to
at
add
the
it into
paper,
the story.
put this in the story. This.
Yeah.
Men fighting at my book signing. Yes. And who broke it up?
I bet he would spin that to...
He loves it. It was just so...
There were so many people trying to get my autograph, pushing and shoving, that a fight broke out over my autograph.
Yeah. And then Hagrid is also in Flourish and Blotts.
Yeah.
And he breaks up the fight. And then everything just kind of winds down from there. They head home, head back to the Burrow.
Yeah.
What you doing? What you doing in there, Hagrid?
I love
getting
that
some books?
Hagrid... Yeah, I love that Hagrid shows up and they all know each other and they all get along. And it's like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. Hagrid and the Weasleys get along. And
My guy.
I think Hagrid's even given Mr. Weasley a little bit of advice. And
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. So that is a very long chapter.
Lot
So
of
let's
stuff
get into
happens.
our final thoughts real quick. there's just a lot going on in this chapter. It could have been split up into multiple chapters.
Could have been 2 chapters, yeah. Could have been 2 chapters. I've never asked this, and I've wondered it 10 times.
Okay.
If you use the Floo network to get to Diagon Alley, does it take you to the Leaky Cauldron?
That's a good question.
Like, where does it take you?
I would have... Man, there'd be a lot... that would be... Man, just imagine if it took you to the Leaky Cauldron, how much business they would get. The first place you go to, you can get food and drinks. And...
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see if we can find this out.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't... Harry, yeah, we get that he says diagonally instead of Diagon Alley. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig.
If you're listening and you know, or if you have a theory, let us know. We love to hear. Yeah, but other than that, what did you think? It's just a long chapter, a lot of information. We get to know the Weasleys more. We're introduced to new characters. You know, we learn where Draco's mannerisms come from his father Lucius.
Yeah.
We learn a little bit about Percy. We almost learn exactly how ordinary the Weasley family is. Like we get like a perfectly painted picture of them in this chapter, and then we're introduced to Gilderoy Lockhart, the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, right? One of many.
Yeah, it's a great building blocks chapter. It's very informative. And you also get some important things that are pertinent to the plot.
Yeah, I don't think I seen anything that I didn't agree with or that was kind of weird.
No, all good. All good.
It was... And there's a lot in this chapter that wasn't included in the movies, like them practicing Quidditch. And then you said, the big difference between Lucius talking to Jenny is he does not put 2 books back in her cauldron in the book, but in the movie he does. And in the fight does not happen in the books, so we don't know. We know there's tension if you're just... No, it doesn't happen in the movies.
Yeah.
You know there's tension if you're just watching the movies between the Malfoys and the Weasleys, but you don't know how bad that tension is unless you read the books. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, Arthur is fighting. Arthur Weasley is fighting.
Yeah, so here it is. Hagrid was wading toward them through the sea of books. In an instant, he had pulled Mr. Weasley and Mr. Malfoy apart. Mr. Weasley had a cut lip, and Mr. Malfoy had been hit in the eye by an encyclopedia of toadstools. He was still holding Ginny's old Transfiguration book, so it was not a standard book of spells, it was a Transfiguration book. He thrust it at her, his eyes glittering with malice. Here, girl, take your book. It's the best your father can give you. Pulling himself out of Hagrid's grip, he beckoned to Draco and swept from the shop. So it doesn't say that... We don't know, by reading the book, that he puts 2 books in there.
Yeah, no, it's great. Long chapter... Great chapter.
Great chapter.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. Join us next time when we review Chapter 5 in the Chamber of Secrets, The Whomping Willow. Don't forget to like, share, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it be on a platform or on YouTube. And I'm going to go ahead and sign us out. I got kind of a long quote here, but it's Mrs. Weasley.
Is this actually a quote, or is this just you making up a saying? Because last time you left us with some good life advice.
Well, yeah, positive affirmations are good. But I like Mrs. Weasley, so it's a long one. For heaven's sake, there was no need. I've had enough of this. Just because you're allowed to use magic now, you don't have to whip your wands out for every little thing.
George and Fred.
Yes.
George and Fred. Love them.
Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobo and co-host by Andrew Beecham. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review. To inquire about being a guest and for questions, comments, or to just give us your Harry Potter story, email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow my YouTube, Accio Potter Guy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner.